everybody, welcome to Storytime. My name is Shyamala and I am a passionate storyteller. Today I have another interesting story from King Vikramaditya series. In the last episode we saw that King Vikramaditya has finally seen Pesa Madanthai, but there is a screen or a curtain in between them. So Vetala got into the curtain and King Vikramaditya said to the curtain, "Can you please speak something? I'm feeling so bored." And the princess Pesa Madanthai does not even show her face to me. So the curtain started to speak. It told King Vikramaditya, "Shall I tell you stories?" Vikramaditya said, "Of course, that'll be a good idea to pass the night." So the curtain started to tell the story. The name of this story is The Greatest Sacrifice. Once upon a time, there was a vast kingdom which was ruled by a great king. The king was very close to one of the ministers. They were both great friends. This minister had a son whose name was Tantralola. He was a close friend to the king's son, who was the prince of the kingdom. Both the prince and the minister's son Tantralola grew up together right from when they were very young, and they were close friends. They would do anything for each other. One fine day, both the prince and the minister's son decided to go on a hunting expedition. They had a lovely time throughout the day, lots of hunting. They were very tired. They had finished hunting and they came to the edge of the forest. While the prince lied down under a tree, Tantralola walked to a temple that was close by. This temple had a huge complex. As he was walking around the complex, he noticed that there was a beautiful statue of a lady. This lady looked extremely beautiful. The statue was sculpted in such a manner that it looked as though the lady was offering flowers to someone. Tantralola admired the beauty of the statue and he walked back to where the prince was. By then the prince had gotten up and he said he would also take a stroll around the temple and come back. The prince went but did not come back for a long time. Tantralola came in search of him and found the prince just next to the statue, and in fact the prince was almost talking to the statue. Tantralola told him, "What are you doing? This is just a statue. Come, let's go back home." The prince said, No, I have fallen in love with this lady. I want to take the flowers she is offering." And he kept putting his hands in front as if taking the flowers that she was offering. Now, Tantralola did not understand what has become of the prince. He said, "Come on, this is a statue. It is not going to offer you any flowers. Let's go home." He almost pulled the prince. The prince refused to come. Hours passed by. He became crazy after this girl. The prince said to Tantralola, "I really want to see her. Otherwise, I cannot come off this place." Tantralola did not have a choice. He went into the temple looking for the priest and asked him, "Who has sculpted this statue? I would like to know where this lady is from." The priest said, "I do not know all those details. I just know that the sculptor who did this statue lives 20 miles from here north." So Tantralola told the priest, "Take care of my prince." He gave him some money. "I'm going to go back and fetch this lady, but if I get delayed, you have to take care of the prince, maybe a few more days." Saying so, Tantralola galloped in his horse northwards looking for the sculptor. He met the sculptor and asked him, "How did you make that statue? Where is this lady from? The prince has fallen in love with the lady." The sculptor said, "Let me tell you the truth. Few months back, I got a fingernail of a lady. This nail looked like a gem, almost a precious gem. Then using the science of portrait, I sculpted the lady to whom this nail might have belonged," he said. Tantralola was aghast. He has never heard of such a thing. Then he asked the sculptor, "Where did you find that nail?" He said, "A few days back, when I was in the forest, a potter came and sold this nail to me. I thought it was a precious gem and bought it. Only after I came back home, I realized it was a nail." "Where is this potter?" asked Tantralola. Then he gave the directions of the potter's house. Tantralola went there and asked him, "Where did you get the nail from, the one that you sold to the sculptor?" The potter said, "A few months back, I was in the forest, and at that time, a hunter came and gave me this nail. I also thought it was a precious gem and bought it from him. Only after I came back home, I realized it was a nail. I deceived the sculptor and gave it off to him. Where is this hunter's house?" He gave the directions. Tantralola went to the hunter's place. The hunter said, "Yes, it is true. I sold a nail to the potter, but I do not know the whereabouts of that girl to whom it might have belonged. One night I was sleeping under a tree, and suddenly there was this nail that got dropped from one of the branches. That's all I know. Where is this tree?" He gave directions to that tree. Tantralola galloped in that direction and found that there was a huge tree. He slept under the tree that night, only to be woken up midnight by about 1,000 birds. They were all chirping. And one of the birds asked him, "Why are you sleeping here? This is a dangerous place," it asked. Tantralola told the bird what he was looking for. "Oh, that nail, I know what it is. One day we all flew to the city that is beyond the 7 seas. It's called Mallikapura. And there, while I was flying back, I noticed that a lady was standing in the balcony of a tall building. As she was combing her hair, one of her nails fell down. I picked it up in my beak, thinking that it was a brooch from her sari or something, and came back here. When I was sitting on the branch of this tree and noticed, I realized it was a nail, and I just dropped it," said the bird. Tantralola asked the bird, "I want to go to Mallikapura, the one that's beyond the 7 seas. Can you take me there?" he asked. Oh, the little bird said, "Look at my size. I'm so small, I cannot take you. But there are 2 giant birds that live in a particular tree a little north from here. If you go and ask them, they would help. They are called Andaberanda birds," it said. Tantralola went to that particular tree. When he reached there, he could not find the giant birds. There was a huge nest though, and there were baby birds playing there. A big cobra came to eat those little birds. Tantralola killed the cobra and saved the birds. After a moment, 2 giant birds, supposedly the parents of these little ones, flew towards them. And the little ones told their parents, "Look here, this man over here, he saved us from a cobra." The 2 birds were so grateful to Tantralola and asked him what he wanted. Tantralola said to them, "Please take me to Mallikapura." So both of them said okay. He held on to the neck of one of the birds and climbed on its back. Tantralola left his horse behind. He tethered it to a tree and he flew along with the bird towards Mallikapura. On the way, he spotted an island which was filled with precious gems. He requested the bird to halt for a while. He got down and he gathered lots and lots of precious gems, as much as he could carry, and continued his journey. The birds dropped him at Mallikapura. The bird also gave one of its wing and told him whenever he wants to fly back, he simply has to hold that wing and think of the bird. It would come. He thanked the bird. Tantralola walked towards a big jewel merchant's shop. He went there and showed all his gems and said he would like to sell them. It so happened that one particular merchant by name Navakoti Narayana Chettiar came there. He was absolutely dumbfounded looking at those precious gems. He had never seen such precious gems before in his life. So he befriended Tantralola and told him, "Why don't you come to my home?" Upon inquiry with the others, Tantralola got to know that Navakoti Narayana Chettiar is the richest merchant in Mallikapura, and he lived in a tall building with his family. Tantralola went along with him to his home, only to be greeted by his daughter. This daughter looked exactly like the statue that he saw in the temple. The merchant introduced him to his daughter, whose name was Rukmini, and they had a lovely time having a conversation. When nobody was there and he found some private time with this girl, Tantralola told her why he was here. Rukmini was absolutely surprised to hear that there was a prince who is pining for her at a temple just looking at her statue. She said she would come and help the prince because already he had gone insane. So she told Tantralola that she would come with him. Immediately he took the bird's feather and within his mind he summoned the Andaberanda birds. Both of them came there. Tantralola and Rukmini climbed on top of their backs and flew all the way to the place where he had his horse. They both thanked the birds. Tantralola and Rukmini got onto his horse, galloped towards the temple. When they came there, the prince was exactly in the same position, still looking at the statue and asking for flowers. Rukmini gave the flowers to him, and at that time he came back to his senses. And Rukmini also fell in love with him, and both of them decided to marry. Now Tantralola did not show himself to the prince yet. He just wanted to play a prank with the prince. So he told Rukmini to tell the prince that Tantralola died while they were coming back. She also played along with him and told the prince, look here, your friend Tantralola had to take an adventurous journey to fetch me, and on the way back he died, she said. The prince was shocked. He couldn't take it at all. Tantralola was after all his close friend. Immediately he pulled the sword and said, my dear friend lost his life for the sake of my love. It is not fair if I live happily without him. And he killed himself. One moment Rukmini was also shocked. She was just playing a prank, and here was the prince dead in a pool of blood. She snatched the sword from the prince's hand and she also killed herself. It was because of her that the prince died. Now Tantralola, suddenly hearing all this commotion, came running and looked at the prince and Rukmini, both of them dead. He understood what might have happened. He was just playing a prank, and look where it ended. He pulled his own sword and he killed himself because he wanted to take responsibility for their death. Now hearing all the commotion, the priest of the temple came out. He saw the prince, the minister's son, another lady who looked like the statue, all three of them dead. Oh my God, he yelled to the goddess of the temple, what is this? What is happening here? I can't believe that 3 lives have been taken off in our temple. I take responsibility for all that has happened. He snatched the sword from Tantralola's hand and he also killed himself. Now the curtain which was reciting this story to King Vikramaditya and Pesa Madanthai stopped here and asked the king, my dear king, you are somebody who is known for answering so many riddles supposedly posed by a Vetala. Now let me ask you a question. Now 4 people have killed themselves. Whose sacrifice is the greatest? King Vikramaditya smiled. He was so used to answering so many riddles like this, is it not? He smiled and said, of course, it is the sacrifice of Rukmini. Her sacrifice is the greatest, he said. And he looked at Pesa Madanthai with a very, very mischievous smile. Pesa Madanthai said, of course, that's the wrong answer. It is the priest whose sacrifice is the greatest. The prince died because of his friendship with Tantralola. Rukmini died because of her love for the prince. Tantralola himself died because of the love he had for his friend. But the priest, who had nothing to do with any of these people, took ownership for all of their deaths and he killed himself. His sacrifice is the greatest, she said. King Vikramaditya clapped his hands and said, thank you, Pesa Madanthai, for speaking for the first time. The princess bit her tongue. She didn't realize that she had spoken. She had spoken out of an impulse when King Vikramaditya gave the wrong answer. In fact, it was a staged thing, is it not? King Vikramaditya gave the wrong answer on purpose. He has to make her speak 2 more times before dawn. Did he get to do that? Did he get to marry Pesa Madanthai? You have to wait for the next episode. Did you all like today's story? If you liked, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Shyamsstorytime. You will have access to all the stories that I upload. Every Saturday, you get to hear a story of King Vikramaditya in English, and on Sundays, a story from Panchatantra tales in Tamil, all from the luxury of your mobile phone. Listen and enjoy all these stories. My name is Shyamala and I am a passionate storyteller. I will meet you in the next episode. Bye-bye.